called Vin de Sette. It's a kind of a French restaurant, but not real French. But it's cool because it's close to downtown, and it's on the third floor of this old warehouse. And they have this huge outdoor deck, so you can kind of see the arch in the distance. And the weather's, this is great for St. Louis. You can sit outside and enjoy that. So that's another place. But the other place I always like to talk about is, because I have little children, and or a 10-year-old, and let's see, where's Pizza Go-Go? Yeah, Pizza Go-Go. So this place is great because, first of all, he has two things on his menu. He has pizza and he has a soda dispenser. That's it. He doesn't have breadsticks, he doesn't have salad, and the guy now who runs it's like my age, but it used to be his father. And Frank, if you would say to him, Frank, you ought to have salad. He goes, you want salad? You go across the street. And he wouldn't do it, but he lets you bring in your own salad. He lets you bring in your own beer and wine. He doesn't care. And the pizza, they're tossing it there, so it's great, it's cheap, it's good. It's not St. Louis pizza. St. Louis pizza is kind of an acquired taste. This is very good. The other thing I want to show you is on our website, we've got outcome data. So, say you wanted to find out, I assume most of you are probably freshman parents. Say your kid is saying, I want to major in history. And you're like, well, I'm not sure what you're going to be able to do with that. You can do a lot of things with it. This will show you what kids in the class of 2016. So, over half of them went and got employment. Here are some of the employers they went to. Here are some of the graduate schools they went to. Here are some of the types of internships they had, or places they interned, and there's more. Some of the job titles they got, a little bit about the geographic distribution, starting salaries. So you can do that for all the different majors and stuff. So you can kind of play around with it. So I'm sorry we don't have more chairs. I got to get a bigger room. Let's see. You guys can sit. Personally, I can't sit on the floor because I can sit on the floor and just can't get up off the floor. But you can come over here and. Sure. You're stuck. Are you a parent, or are we doing this for WashU?
It's for WashU.
Oh, do I need to wear a mic or something?
No, you're fine.
Okay, good. Okay. So apparently you don't even have to stick around. You can just have your bed at home, in your pajamas, having a beer. It'll be a lot more fun. Okay, give me one more minute and then we'll start. Actually, let's go ahead and start because we got a full house. Okay, so I'm Mark Smith. I work here at the Career Center. Let's see, you've got a, this is my contact information, Mark Smith at Woostel.edu, my direct dial phone number if anything comes up. Your handout, you've got 4. One is a guide to the career, a parent's guide to the Career Center. You have my bio. The only reason I'm giving you my bio, there are 2 main reasons. One, I've got 2 kids in college of my own. I know what it's like to have college kids and, worry about what they're doing. So that's one of the reasons I give you my direct dial number. If anything comes up, and I'm not just talking career related, you can't figure out, you're having problems with the health service, you're having problems with the major, feel free to call me. I'm not going to come over and, prescribe drugs, but I will make sure that you get to the right people that can help you. I've got a kid that's out in California and another kid up in Chicago, and I'm very stressed out about that kind of stuff. And then the other reason I give it to you, because I'm a first-generation college student. So I know many of you went to college, but I suspect some of you didn't. And I know when I went to college, I went like your kids to kind of a community college, and I felt like I didn't really know what was going on always. And I just want to reassure everyone that we work with all students, and we've really gone out of our way to try and help the first-gen students to make sure they're having all the options. I'll talk some more about some of those things in time. And then we've got a handout about a class that I'm going to talk more about, and some career entrance groups. If you want the PowerPoint, just email me, and I'll send it to you, okay? I didn't want to kill more trees. So, this is our fancy mission, but here I'll tell you 3 things that I'm really trying to do. 1, I want your kids set for graduation. And typically I'll have like probably around 70% set by graduation. They know what they're doing. By this time of the year, it'll be up to about 95%. The remaining 5% typically are just not responding to it, so I don't know what they're doing. And like I said, I've got all that outcomes data, so you can see it by major, but you can see it more globally for the whole graduating class. I want them to have, I mean, you know, I'm the career guy, so I want them to be set, but I also get that college is about more than that. So I want them, you know, I think college is about becoming a more interesting person, becoming a better citizen, and also preparing you for a career, but I also want them to have fun the 4 years they're here. I just want them to be kind of mindful that they're going to eventually leave, and they got to do something, and to be thinking about what they need to do over those 4 years. We'll talk more about that. And then the last thing, you know, we believe in the Career Center, and I think many people at the university believe that we should know your kids by name and story. We try very hard to do that, and that's our goal. I meet with students every day, and partly it's because, I mean, the main reason is because I like talking to your kids. They're a lot of fun, and they're interesting. So I think most of our staff is that way too. Okay, so this is kind of what we offer. We offer really robust resources, experience, connections, and opportunities. I'm going to go through more of that in detail. But the thing that I need is your kid, and that's why I'm talking to you, to get them to do it. So like I said, I got college kids. I assume most people here are freshman parents. Anyone not a freshman parent? Okay, so, okay, good. But so the freshman parents, you remember last year at this time, I know with my kids, so my kid Michael, I was like, Michael, how's the personal statement going? And he's like, Dad, it's going great, just great. I said, great, Michael, can I see it? Well, I don't have a copy. Yeah. So it's like, so Michael, by definition, it's not going great. I mean, until you have something, it can't be great, it's unaccomplished. And so, you know, kids will tell you, oh, it's going great, but they're not really doing anything. And that's not all kids, I get that. Definitely my son Michael. But I need them to kind of get engaged. And so what I'm hoping to do is tell you a little bit about what we offer. So maybe you could talk to your kid about, hey, this guy was talking about this roadshow. Have you thought about that? So let's go through more. Yeah?
I'm sorry, do you want questions during?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. When do you want the kids to start getting engaged? Because
Yeah.
my freshman son last night told us, well, they've already said they don't,
What year is
Freshman.
I know, what year is school?
when the
Arts and
arts
sciences.
and science.
Yeah, well, he should come in. I don't think he should need it to come in September, but I think now is a good time, like starting in November. And I'm going to talk about some programs we have. So you might encourage him to come to one of these programs, okay? But probably, I think there's some of the 4-year advisors who take the view that freshman year is too soon. I don't take that view. I mean, I'm not saying they have to have internships after their freshman year, and quite frankly, it's really tough to do. But I do think they need to start the process. And we're not going to solve the whole thing. So we'll talk more. We've got a whole bunch of advisors, including, and I got kind of 2 kinds of advisors. I've got more of the counselor types. They've got MSWs, counseling degrees. They're really good with the kids who don't know what they want to do. And then I have people with expertise. So got a lawyer, got a couple of doctors for your kids who are thinking about maybe medical school, PhDs. I've Jim Birdie, who works in my office, got an MBA. He ran the MBA Career Center at the Wharton School for about 10 years. So he's very knowledgeable about consulting and finance and things. We've got an engineer who works primarily with engineering students. Got a licensed architect who works down at Sam Potts with the architecture students. So we've got, we also have testing that can help your students. I'm not trained to administer this testing, but you basically take the testing, you get like a, so your kid would come into the Career Center, say, I want to take the testing, they give them a piece of paper. They could take the test at any time. And then they set up an appointment with one of my counselors to get the results and to go over them. I think the real value comes because it's almost like a Rorschach test, where the person is saying, what do you think about this? Does this feel right? And then trying to tease out maybe where that might take you. Like I said, I'm not trained to administer the testing, but I took it, and I thought what it said about me was pretty accurate. It said I should be a lawyer. I was a lawyer. I was pretty good at it. It said I should think about teaching. I teach a freshman class. I get good evaluation. The one thing it said that was kind of a surprise was it said I should be an optometrist. We want an optometrist. So I thought, optometrist? That does, I never thought about that, but that could be good. I think they make pretty good money, so that's great. I'm a shallow person, I like that. It's helping people, I like helping people. It's, you're in that little office, they kind of talk you up. I'm very good at chatting people up. And then, is this better, or is this better? I mean, who among us could not do that? So, maybe I should shift right now. We'll also help them with resume. There's a lot of stuff online. They can come in without an appointment in the front of the office, have somebody go over their stuff and help them. Or even with nothing and just say, I need to get started. We do mock interviews, and we do a variety of mock interviews. We'll do technical interviews. So like, say your kid's going to work at Google or wants to work at Google or Microsoft, where they'll have to do some coding stuff. We'll bring in like seniors. We'll hire them to come in and to help the students and prepare those. We'll do case interviews, like consulting does something called a case interview. It's a kind of stylized thing, and so we have people that can do that. And then we also do, like I'm part of the pre-law advising team. I have 5 people in my office who are part of the pre-health advising team, and then I've got another person who's part of the like pre-grad advising team. So they can come in, one-stop shopping for all that stuff. Okay, let's make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, and with the advisors, I mean, we don't assign advisors, but they could just kind of come in and say, I'm a freshman, I don't know, would you recommend I talk to? And they'll give you somebody. And then if they like that person, they can stick with them, but if they don't like them, they can switch to somebody else. Okay, so some other things we have. You do a lot of outreach to your students, because I'm not sure they'd come in otherwise. But I think it's been successful. When I came over in 2005, we did about 1,500 advising appointments a year, advising interaction, which is probably typical for a school our size. Last year we did 12,000. We got a lot more people, students coming through, and I really need to, that's what I think. We got to shift the culture. This has got to be like the default. Everyone coming to the Career Center. And that's part of the reason I'm talking to you, because I want you to encourage your kid to come to the Career Center.
Do you have data about how many of those 12,000 are repeat?
Yeah. I think I can give you, I don't know it off the top of my head, yeah, but I
I
can
just
always.
wonder what percentage of the kids, the number of students, is it?
Yeah, most of them
Does it
are,
reflect?
we don't have as many freshmen coming in, and I've kind of found in terms of number of appointments, there's a sweet spot. The kids who don't come in at all tend not to be set at graduation, but then I also have the kids who have like 50 appointments. There's something else going on. We also have these career interest groups, and so that's the black handout I gave you. And so what these are like communities of students who are interested maybe in similar outcomes. So these are some of the things. Those of you who have freshmen, I automatically enrolled them all for the first time this year in the Explorers group. That's kind of the undecided group. They can opt out of it pretty easily, but I want to kind of start getting them some information. So, for example, the consulting one, it's a great way for students to match up with each other and do case interviews. We have a whole set of Blackboard. Blackboard's this online resource with data about consulting. With the government and public policy, they'll bring in speakers, either by Skype or in person, and so it's a great way to kind of work together. Some of the groups will meet, some of the groups are more online, and if your student wants to just join the group and work in the background, that's fine too. One of the things they're tied to is roadshows, which is something I'm going to talk about. Okay, so some other experiences we have. So for freshmen, I do a program called Freshman Early Action, or first year, we're supposed to say first year early action, and which will be right before Thanksgiving. And basically what I do with that is I talk about, here's kind of a little bit about the resources we have, but it's more about here's the approach you're going to take for finding internships in a career and figuring out what you want to do. And then, I'm a big advocate of talking to people, networking with people, and I give them a very specific kind of practical approach of how to do that, from how to identify people, how to reach out to them, how to set up the meeting, what you do during the meeting, what you do afterwards. And why old people like us want to talk to them, what's in it for us, so I think and the students seem to like it. So I'd encourage your kid to maybe come to that. I'll do, I think, 3 different shows before Thanksgiving, and then I'll do a couple more after. Fresh Start then is another program we do in January when they come back, more an overview of what we do, maybe an opportunity to re-engage with them after the winter break. Junior Jumpstart is at the end of junior year. It's a day-long program, modular, so like I do a whole set of programs on pre-law advising, much more than they need to know. And then there's stuff on consulting or on pre-med or whatever. And then Career Camp is kind of like Junior Jumpstart, only it's offered before school starts. It's open to sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Once again, modular program where you can kind of get overviews. We also have this class, which I'm a big advocate of, Business Fundamentals and Professional Competencies. So this is a course at the business school, but it's only available for non-business school students. And basically, it's co-taught by the director of the Career Center, Amy Whitman, who has a counseling background, and Jim Burney, who's my director of external relations. He's the guy that ran the Wharton Career Center. And then business school faculty. So you get, on the one hand, you get kind of how to go about thinking about your career, how to manage your career, how to prepare the documents you'll need, all that kind of stuff. But you're also going to learn some fundamentals that you need in the business world. Whether you're going to go to a not-for-profit, become a doctor, or work in business. How to make decisions with quantitative data. How to read some basic financial statements. How to do oral presentations. How to present stuff in writing in a business setting. So some real practical stuff. And I think this is a great course for like freshmen and sophomores, I think. We have students in all 4 years taking it.
What's that course called?
It's called, this is the worst name ever, Business Fundamentals and Professional Competencies for Non-Business Students. Management 200A. And you've got a handout on it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, some other things we have. We've got lots of on-campus interviews every day. We've got employers here. We do career fairs, both here at WashU, and then we've got one like in New York with some other schools over winter break. We do these things called slams. So your kids will do poetry slams, where they'll be in a dark room and everyone snaps their finger and they work through their rage about how we screwed up the world, stuff like that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just trying to steal the hipster name to get them to come to my thing. The slam, like we did a STEM slam a couple of weeks ago. We brought in about 20, 25 employers, kind of like Google and AT&T, who? Microsoft, yeah, places like that. They get 30 seconds to 45 seconds to kind of pitch themselves to the students. And I think that's nice because the students like having the employers go first. And I also think, even though it's obvious to us, it's not always obvious to a student that Microsoft doesn't just need programmers. They also need, HR people and finance people. And so, and then after they do their little pitch, the employers go to high top tables and the students can meet with them. So we'll do a few of those during the year. We also do things like lunch with a pro or coffee with a pro where you can meet with people. We have alumni shadowing programs. We have one for freshmen that occurs over spring break. Roadshows. So roadshows are a big thing. We'll do about 15 of those a year. So we just did some over fall break. We're going to do some more over winter break. So I went on the one to Silicon Valley. So over 2 days, we took about 25 students, and we visited on my trip. It was like Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Jawbone, Box, a bunch of other like hipster companies with a bunch of 20-somethings in hoodies, making a lot more money than me, and eating free food all the time. It was very disturbing. But take your kids around, and they go in, and at each place, it'll be HR and our alumni will come out and kind of talk to them about, here's what we do, here's what we're looking for, opportunities. So I think it's good for your students because, one, they learn an industry, and they learn some particular employers. They can also learn a geographic area. So maybe I'm from Chicago, I'm thinking of doing something in Silicon Valley, but I've never been there. I don't even know what it looks like. So this is a nice way. And if your students don't have money to do it, I have some financial ability to help support them on that. So I'm a big fan of those. We do, like I said, we do like 10 to 15 a year.
So,
Yeah,
what is the cost of the road shows and how do the students
there's
sign
no
up?
cost. You just gotta get yourself out there. So like if you live in Silicon Valley, you just take the BART to where we're meeting or something. If you're in Chicago, then you gotta fly out there and find a place to stay. Most of the time, they'll have friends that they can stay with. And like I said, if there's not resources, I can help them with the plane fare.
Oh, okay, so they're not going as a group. I thought it was they were going as a group.
No, not on the plane, just once we get there,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But are they signing up?
They sign up, good question, yeah, they sign up in November. So you gotta sign up in advance. And not everyone who signs up gets in. When we first started, when I came over in '05, we were doing one a year, we couldn't get it filled up. Now we're doing like 10 or 15, they're filled, most of them are filled up. But we do a lot of them, so I would think most students would be able to do it. And it's not just for seniors or juniors, we've had freshmen go, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Okay, in terms of connections, Success Stories is this thing we have on our website. We just relaunched it because I got a new website, but basically what it is your student can search by geography, major, even by like words like writing or something, and then find current students and recent alums who like spent their intern at a particular place. So what the students fill out like a form that says, this is how I got the job. This is the kind of questions they ask me. This is what I liked about it. Just whatever they think is relevant. And then you can also hit this link and then you can email directly to the student or alum. LinkedIn is also a really powerful tool. And I encourage you to encourage your kids to get on LinkedIn. You can do searches on LinkedIn with, I want to look for WashU alum who are in Boston and where the word environmental appears somewhere in their profile. And you can kick that out. And we can help them with that. Okay, so some things I want them doing over the summer. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I messed up my page. This. Okay, so some things I want them doing. Traditional internships are tough for freshmen. Some of your students might get lucky, but that's probably more sophomore and junior year. And quite frankly, if your kid said, to me, I worked at this summer camp the last 3 summers, I really like it there. I want to do that one more summer. I would say, fine, don't worry about it. I would maybe encourage them to do some kind of volunteer activity at the beginning or end of the summer, just so they have some experience. I actually had some kid, I said, what do you want to do this summer? And his response was, I just want to be a kid. And I got no problem with that, Now, eventually you got to switch, but that's okay after the first year. So they can also target, like if I'm from Boise and maybe there's a big employer there, I could target their websites, I'll list it. And then there's these big sites. I listed idealist.org as one. Idealist is for kids who want to kind of save the world, and you can search it by all different things. It's got internships, job opportunities, nationally and internationally. Networking with family and friends. I mean, thinking about what did the guy who played on the basketball team with them last year, who was a year older, what did he do last summer? Or what did the girl down the block do? Thinking about those things, do any of those sound interesting? Maybe talking to those folks. My son, who's a sophomore in college, he worked at Anheuser-Busch in the gift shop. It was great. It really, helped him hone, like, interacting with people, and it was kind of fun, and I think it was great for the first year. And he got paid, so that was thrilled. They can create internships. So maybe, I reach out to the mayor of my town and say, could I just intern in your office? They don't have anything on their website, but particularly if they don't need to get paid, or we in the Career Center, we have stipends for summer. They're need-based, although I have some non-need-based ones too, they're smaller. But, they come in saying, I think I can get some funding for my school, could I work there? A lot of times people just create something. But I want them kind of, meeting with the people who are doing the things they're kind of interested in. Some other things, we have research opportunities. Office of Undergraduate Research, talking to faculty. Here's the mistake some students make though. They'll send out an email, and in the to line it'll be like 6 faculty members email. And then the subject line says, you know, looking for research. And then it'll say, the text will say, I'm a freshman at WashU, looking for research, do you have anything? Mark Smith, you know. And what I always tell them, that's like when I was in college, going into a bar saying, looking for a girlfriend, anyone interested? Not, you know, same thing with this. What they need to do is, they need to write the individual faculty members, and they need to say, they need to show that they know something about their work. I've read some of your work, I saw you doing biomechanical engineering, particularly interested in the work you're doing with, you know, artificial kidneys. I'm a first year, but I've had some exposure to this, and I've read about this. I'd love to talk to you, learn more about your research, and see if maybe there's some way I can help you. And they can do that with WashU faculty, but they can also do that back in Boston with BU, BC, Harvard, MIT faculty. That's mine. And talking to their faculty here, what might opportunity. And then volunteer, you know, maybe they do a full-time job, and then they volunteer part-time for a local museum, helping with some of their press releases or something, or on a political campaign, or you know, just something so they can get some experiences. Summer school, study abroad, or other options and things they can do. I just don't, like you, I suspect, I just don't want them doing nothing. Here's some of our partners. The Weston Career Center is at the Olin School. They don't report to me, all the other ones do. I say this because we cooperate very closely, but sometimes people are worried there's 2 sets of jobs. There's 1 set of jobs. All the jobs go into one place, but because they're a business school, they gotta brand everything. You gotta go into a different portal where it's Olin everywhere. Mine just gets you right to the jobs. The Scandalaris Center for Entrepreneurship. They offer like about 30 paid internships in St. Louis with startups, both for-profit and not-for-profit. And then they bring the students together on Fridays for training and stuff, so you kind of go through with a cohort. It's a nice experience, a lot of freshmen do that. The Office of Undergraduate Research can help with research opportunities. There's the Gephardt Institute for Civic and Community Engagement. They have some special stuff. And then we work closely with the schools and student groups. Like I have one of my folks who works a lot with the athletic teams, tries to go down and talk to them, things like that.
And so is it the counselors that would funnel the kids, given their areas of interest, into one of these particular groups to look for opportunities?
Well, I'm not sure I'm following.
Well, I mean, there were several different community, civic and community
Oh, yeah.
engagement.
Those are separate offices, yeah.
Okay.
So like if your
So how do the
kid
kids
really,
find out about those?
well, they should be, there's stuff going on all the time, but if your kid is really interested in civic stuff, I would say, have them look at the Gephardt's website, have them set up an appointment with me. That's one of the things I work with kids a lot. Have them join that career interest group on government and public policy. That would probably be the first step I would do. Okay? So here's some things, I'm going to give you more things I want your kid to do, but I'd like them to get early. I mean, September probably, they don't need to do it, but I think now it's perfectly appropriate to start coming into the Career Center and just to say, and I mean, you can tell them to say this, say, my parents talked to the guy at the Career Center, and he said that to tell them that I should come in, so now I gotta come in to get them off my back. That's perfectly appropriate, you know? And then we can take it from there. We'll set up a meeting, and just to kind of talk about what are you interested in, let's kind of get a path forward. They might like the advisor, they might not, they might switch around, they might stick with the same person. I want them to have multiple meaningful experiences. By the way, if you send me your email, send an email to me, I'll send you the PowerPoint if you want. I want them to come to events, so one thing for freshmen, we already talked about this early action, which I'm doing 3 shows, 16th, 17th, and 20th, and then I'll do more shows after Thanksgiving, but we're not going to tell them because I'll put it off. And then we have a 4-year plan that they can kind of follow. Okay, so most of your kids don't know what they want to do, and in fact, I find there's a division among the students. There's students who are freshmen who are pretty upfront about, I got no idea what I want to do. I'm lost. And it's not just our students, this is everywhere. I was at an event at Stanford about this course they're teaching. Anyway, the guy had a video, and these are Stanford students, you know, so they're like our students, and it was like, at a career fair, what do you want to do? What are you going to do after Stanford? And these kids, the one kid, first of all, she looked like she was going to cry. I don't know. This other kid just like laughed, I mean, it's very, that, they don't get that that's okay, that you don't have it all figured out. So you got the kids who have no idea, and then you got the kids who know exactly. I am going to do, I'm going to go to law school, probably top 5 law school, and then I'm going to do mergers and acquisitions work, particularly in this industry. And it's like, kid, look, I'm a lawyer, I still don't know what that means. And I get some of that stuff. How do you know at 18 that's exactly what you want to do? So I tell these other kids, look at these kids, they're just talking a good game to psych you out or make their parents happy. Don't worry about it. You know? You're not supposed to know. But here's how maybe you can kind of help your kid. There's that testing I talked about. But the way I think about it is you're looking for the things that you're interested in, things you're good at, you've got skills, and you might be developing those. So you might, while you're here at WashU, realize, hey, I'm pretty good at mathematical modeling, and I kind of like doing it. You don't know that yet, but so you don't need to figure it all out now. And then what the world will pay you for. You know, what you can actually do that there's a need for. The fourth thing might be your values. You know, some of the kids will say, I'm not going to do anything unless it does something about global warming. That's not most kids, but that's some. So like, I always use as an example, me. So I was a pretty good lawyer. You can make a pretty good living being a lawyer. I don't particularly like being a lawyer, so I got 2 of the 3. I really like playing poker, like a lot. Like my wife thinks I have a problem. And I see those guys on TV, they can make a lot of money. I'm not that skilled. I don't want to brag, but I'm an excellent TV watcher. I mean, really good. I got a lot of interest in watching TV. So far, nobody's willing to pay me to watch TV. So I got to find that. And this is tough for the kids because they don't know what most people do. And think about it, I suspect even for you guys, even for me. Like, my sister is a vice president of the bank. I asked her, what do you do? She says, first she managed processes. Now she validates processes. I don't know what that means. I don't know, I mean, is she sitting at a desk, or is she writing, is she talking to people, is she on the phone, what is she doing? And that's what we're encouraging kids to do. Get out and talk to people and ask those kinds of questions. What do you do all day? What do you like about your job? What don't you like about your job? And letting them know it's perfectly appropriate not to know that, and that people like us like talking about our jobs. So that's kind of how maybe, you know, over Thanksgiving or something, or this weekend, you know, starting that conversation. You don't have to get it all worked out. And then while they're here, and this is kind of going back to, you know, what I want them to do while they're here, I want them to accumulate experiences and some skills and some context. Because what's going to happen is, you know, they're going to be interviewing for jobs and internships. And the interviewer is going to say, so, Susie, tell me about yourself. And so what that means is not tell me about yourself, it means tell me why I should hire you. And so that person's got in their head what they want. They want smart, they want hardworking, depending on the job, they might want writing skills, quantitative analysis, whatever, computer skills. And so your kid can't just say I'm smart and hardworking, they got to show. So they got to tell a story. And so what we're trying to do is, during their time here, is get the experiences to kind of show those skills. So I would tell your kids, you know, don't say you're smart. Say, if you're going back to Connecticut, you say, well, I'm a junior at Washington University. I don't know how much you know about Washington University, but it's the 8th most selective university in the country, according to U.S. News. That's what the guy in the Career Center told me. So he said it was more selective than most Ivy League schools, which is all true. And so I'm doing well there. Now, if your kid's on the dean's list or got a 4.0, they'd add that. If, on the other hand, your kid's got a 2.0, which we don't give that often, but even that kid, just affirmatively say, I'm doing well. Until we kick you out, your kids are doing well. We never so you're fine. And talk about your hard work. You know, I did 2 jobs last summer, or I'm a varsity athlete, so I spend probably, you know, 20 to 25 hours a week for practice when we had away games. Those weeks I spent 40 hours while maintaining a full course load, so I'm really good at juggling a couple balls in the air and bringing, and so I think that's something I can bring. I want them to have these kinds of experiences so they can kind of tell those stories, you know. And then developing context. You know, if I work doing writing for the museum, then the person I'm gonna work with probably worked at a PR agency or something that's gonna know people, and I'm gonna start making the context. Just like I know lawyers throughout the country because they're my tribe, and I know career services people throughout the country because they're my tribe. I want your kids to start finding their tribes too. Okay, so this, I don't really talk about this to your kids, but I figure many of you, got jobs, maybe you do some hiring. Here's how I'm selling WashU, so this is my pitch to you, and I'd love to get more opportunities. You already heard the selectivity thing. And the better yield is the idea that we're not as discovered. This is not really true, but they kind of buy it. So, and so the idea is when you come in here, you get a better quality product, and you're going to have a better yield, so lower cost, better yield. You're going to still pay them the same, but it's going to be easier to recruit. The Midwest work ethic, once again, this may not be completely true, but they're buying this, they're definitely buying this one, so I'm selling. The idea that even though your kids are from East and West Coast, they come in and they get a little bit of the Midwest earnestness, the Midwest aw shucks, the idea that my kids will say, what can I do for you? Where the kids at the Ivy League's kids are gonna say, what are you gonna do for me? And employers hate that. So, like I said, it's not completely true, but they like it and they're buying it, so I'm selling. The St. Louis location, don't repeat this to the admissions office, but, I'm pretty sure none of your kids came to WashU because it's in St. Louis. I mean, if you're from New York or LA, St. Louis, Peoria, Topeka, what's the difference? I don't And so what I say to employers is, look, at our kids, your kids, chose WashU because of the opportunity. They will go where the opportunity is. So if I'm Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati, and you're looking to recruit, who do you think is going to come there? Some kid from Manhattan who went to school in Boston or Providence or DC, or my kid? My kid's going to come because they've already done it in the past. And they'll go where the opportunities are, and whether that's entry level or down the line, that's very important to employers. Cross-disciplinary, your kids will have very different kind of majors and minors. Mechanical engineering with women and gender studies and Arabic. And I think that shows a real robustness of thought, and that's what most jobs are about, problem solving, and your kids have very different ways to do that. And then the last thing is we offer undergraduate business courses. I'm not saying that kids need to take a business courses. They don't. And if they want to take something, I would steer them towards this business fundamentals course that I talked about. But they can't. I couldn't take them when I was in college. And to at least learn some language might be something worthwhile. But like I said, you can get that from that course I talked about. Okay, more stuff, what you can do. Helping them think about their ideas, think expansively, talking about internships, having them come, helping them set up a LinkedIn account, they can do that. And just encouraging them. I think sometimes students, they see you guys, many of you, in your space right now where things are going pretty well for you. You know what you're doing, you like what you're doing. I see that with my kids. I mean, my wife and I both, I come to work, everyone laughs at my jokes because I'm the boss, not because they're funny, and I have control over my life. And if I want to, if my kid has a party, I can go to it. Nothing's going to keep me from going to it. But it wasn't that way when I was in my 20s. I was just doing what other people told me to do. Plus, I wasn't sure where I was going. I was like, I don't think I like this, and I don't know what to do. And I mean, for me, I didn't kind of find my path until I was in like 30. They don't get that. So if that happened to you or other people you know about, to talk to them about that and let them know that's okay not to know exactly where you're going. It'll work out eventually. And most people don't take a straight path. There's some twists along the way. Okay, so some other things. Wait, I'm missing some of my notes here. Back to what I was saying, the kinds of jobs, if you've got jobs, come and talk to me. What I'm particularly interested in, nonprofits, NGOs, this is what your kids are interested in. Consulting, healthcare, finance and banking, international opportunities they're always interested in, arts and entertainment, sports, government, public policy, and research and think tanks. So if you do anything with that, you can bring somebody in, that'd be great. In terms of, talking to your kids, you can also help me by setting expectations. We can't tell your kid what to do. We can help guide them, but we can't just say, surgeon, lawyer, consultant, we can't make their mind up for that. The other thing is, we don't have a drawer of jobs. This process they're going to have to drive, but
sometimes I think they feel like we should be able to give that to them. And just, I mean, many of you have done hiring, you know how it works. The last thing is, and this is not most kids, but occasionally you'll get some kid who comes in and says, you know, say something like, Mark, so I want to, this is what I'm looking for. I want a job where I can make a pretty good living. Actually, I'd like to make a really good living because I know money's important. I'm not naive. So, you know, like good income, but I want a lot of control over my life because my parents worked really hard. I don't want to work that hard. You know, 35, 40 hours a week, that's money for me. Also, it's very important that I save the world. So I'm not going to sell my soul. I want to do, it's got to be valued. And it's like, kid, if I could find a job like that, I would take it. You know, they're tough. You got to earn those things. So having a little conversation with them about that. This one, so if you do hiring, that's great. Talking to the kids about your own experiences. Like I said, your kids only know you over the last 20 years. They don't know what it was like before, maybe. And then I always hate when they do this to me at my other kids' schools. But we've had parents who have the ability to help and who have been very generous to the Career Center. And they've funded my stipend program. I give out, like last year, I gave out $300,000 in stipends to kids who couldn't have taken unpaid internships otherwise. That support I was talking about for the road shows, I've had some very generous parents who funded that. So don't get worked up about this, but if you have the ability and you're looking for something, I'm your guy. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, okay, so here's, you know, so I'm a lawyer by training, so you always anticipate the other side's argument. Here's what your kids are going to tell you. They're going to say, one, you know, I went to the Career Center. I met with that guy. It's an hour of my life. I'm never getting back. He was an idiot. He didn't help me at all. He was offensive. Whatever. Even if that's true, you don't stop there. I mean, if your kid said, I went in to a faculty member, she said, I'm getting an F, and there's nothing I can do, you wouldn't say, well, I guess you're getting an F, we'll just move on. I mean, you say, no, we got to do something about this. Same with the Career Center. And so call me. I'll get your kid connected to maybe the right resource that would help them. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, they're going to tell you, I don't know what I want to do. They can't help me unless I know what I want to do. And that couldn't be further from the truth. That's what we're set up for, to help kids who don't know what they want to do, to help them through this process. Okay? Third thing they're going to say, Mom, because it's always, I always hear them talking to Mom on the phone. Mom, no, I can't. I'm just too busy, Mom. Okay, they're busy. But I've been down to the South 40 on Friday and Saturday night. They got a little extra time. They can make an hour or two for the Career Center and just come in and talk to someone and kind of come up with a plan. Plus, over winter break, we're still here. We do Skype appointments. We do phone appointments. There's plenty of opportunities for them. And then the last thing they'll say, there'll be a variation on the idea that they can't help me because they don't know about what I want. So it's either they don't know anything about the geographic area I want to be in, or they don't know anything about some of the kids do have a laser focus. You know, I want to do this particular thing, and he doesn't know anything about it. And that could be very true. I don't know anything about Boise, Idaho. I don't know anything about, you know, some of the stuff they're doing in engineering. But it doesn't matter, because what I do know is how to help you find the people that do know how to do that stuff and how to have the conversation with them. And that's what we can really help them with. Don't buy that stuff away. The waste of time. When my kids were in daycare, the daycare center teacher always said to us parents, and I would say the same thing, I won't believe what they say about you if you don't believe. So my last thoughts here. I think this process is tough for your kids, and I'm not. I mean, this is a hard process, and there's two main reasons. One, your kids have been very successful. I suspect most things in their life that they really wanted, they've gotten. If they wanted to make the lacrosse team, they made it. If they wanted to get the lead in the play, they got it. If they wanted to get an A in the class, they figured out a way to do it. And with looking for internships and jobs, there's a lot of rejection, a lot of failure, and that's hard for them to take. So it's hard for all of us to take, and particularly the first time. So that's one. I think part of that is their paradigm for applying for internships and jobs. They want to think about it like it's applying to college. They want a nice, organized process that's rational, where people get back to them, and that's not where everything's really set out. And I always tell them that's the wrong paradigm. The correct paradigm is dating. It's about fit, it's about match, it's about a lot of rejection. It's about a non-linear path. So just like I can't say to some girl, okay, in college, Susie, you're my safety girlfriend. You stay right here. I know I can date you. We all know that. I'm going to go for these three. They're my reach girlfriend. I've been working on my background. So I think, but if not, you're my safety. There are no safety internships. There are no safety jobs. Okay. Also, I can't say to Susie, Susie, why are you dating John? My SAT is better than John's. I'm better. I'm more qualified than John. You should be dating me. And the same way with the job stuff. It's not about your GPA, or it's about this fit thing. And it's, like I said, it's a non-linear path. So helping them think about it that way and kind of realize you just got to stay on it. So a couple other things. Like I said, I got college kids and I got one in high school, and I know what it's like talking to your kids, and they roll their eyes and they look at their phone, and it's like, am I even getting through? And I will tell you, you are. Because they'll come into my office and I'll say, you ought to think about this. And then they'll say, my mom said that, or my dad was talking about that the other day. Okay, so they are listening to you, so keep going at it. Now, the flip side of that is, and I don't want to hit this too hard, but I think you also need to listen to your kids. So when I was at the law school, I was the dean of students there. If you wanted to drop out of law school, you had to come see me. So every fall I get like 1 or 2 kids, and they come in, and this is how it would go. They'd say, Dean Smith, I want to drop out of law school. And they'd say, okay, what's the problem? I just don't really like it here. And, well, what don't you like? And they would be like, and they'd always like build themselves up into a little frenzy. Well, the classes are just really boring, and the books, it's cases, it's stupid. You don't even read the whole case. And the faculty, I hate them, and I hate the way they teach, and I don't like you, and I don't like this building. And they get all angry. And they're like, well, why are you here? And they would say, because my parents thought it was a good idea, or my parents really wanted me to go to law school. And I see that sometimes with the pre-meds, particularly, that, mom and dad are really pushing that. So like I said, I don't want to hit it too hard, but just be conscious of that. And then the last 2 things, I really like talking to your kids. I mean, we all do. We talk in the Career Center about how lucky we are, and I don't think we're unique. I mean, you've done a great job as parents. They're great kids. They're really interesting. I talk to my counterparts at other schools who don't, I'll tell them, I meet with kids every day, and they'll be like, that's not the best use of your time, blah, blah, blah. And they're probably right, but I really like talking to your kids, so I keep doing it. And so you've done a good job as parents. So, and I do think this is a great undergraduate experience. I couldn't get either one of my sons to come here. They got in, but apparently going to college where your father works, who's an embarrassment, is a deal breaker, And then the last thing I would say, coming back, if you have any problems with the Career Center, with my kid appointment, it didn't work out, or, I'm having problems with the 4-year advisor or something, I'm not going to be able to solve those, but I'll be able to direct you to the people who can. And so feel free, this is my direct dial, this is my email. I know what it's like to have kids far away. That's a very stressful experience, and I'm happy to help in any way. So I'm going to let you go. I'll stick around if you have any questions, but I hope I do think you've made a great choice for an undergraduate place for your kids. So thanks for coming. Yeah. But also look at my website with all my restaurant recommendations. Yeah. And I've got cards up here too, somewhere. Here.